Today, my guest is Dr. Omid Guderzian. Me and Dr. Omid have a lot in common. One is that we are both Iranian.
Absolutely.
I know, but both of us don't have hair. So,
Dentistry is a stressful job. So it gotta worth it. If you want to handle that stress, it's gotta worth it for basically what you want to do as well. For me, it just didn't worth it. For the trade was not right, if that makes sense. So we actually diagnose your business on internet, basically online. So we actually see where you're standing in terms of sometimes if someone is doing SEO, how is the ad, what is the ad copy, what are the pictures, what are you advertising. So long story short, someone was doing, and it was referred by another dentist. This is the funny part. But at some point in everyone's dream, and hopefully, I guess, goal is that to have your own business at some point, you have your own clinic, but it's challenging, especially nowadays with so many competitive corporates and everything else. So what you say that pretty much what motivates me is like, hopefully just uh, bring this to more and more and more dentists' attention that this is missing. And I
yes,
always say, I love this phrase when they say, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know that thing is missing.
with technology, things are changing so fast, man. It's like I want to
Yeah.
figure, and that's something I want to tell the younger dentists is like find a way that you're not relying on sitting chairside to make money. Because if you're doing that, man, it's gonna be a long game. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Dentsman. Man, I at this point I don't know what episode I'm on. Maybe 50 plus, 100 plus. I don't know. I don't count anymore. I just do them. I'm like I post them. I don't know where we at. But today my guest is Dr. Omid Guderzian. Me and Dr. Omid have a lot in common. One is that we are both Iranian.
Absolutely.
I know, but both of us don't have hair, so join the both club.
Absolutely. Mila, thanks very much for having me. I've been following your journey for a very long time now. And honestly, I just told you as well, I'm very proud of what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. I can genuinely see the growth of this even over last couple of months. So well done. What you do for the community is very, very appreciated. And of course, it's great honor to be here as well. So
Yes. Well, Dr. Omid, as I'm always fascinated to kind of, let the guests speak about their journey, speak about who they are, what they do, why they do it. Their why is so important. I think that we all have a reason of why we do certain things. So I really want you to kind of introduce yourself and tell us the why you do what you do, and we'll kind of get the questions rolling.
yeah, that's perfect. So, you have introduced me. I'm Dr. Omid. I'm a dentist here based in London, UK. And I'm basically a dentist, registered dentist in EU and the UK. I graduated not a very long time ago, actually. So 2018. So it's about like 6 years. I'm practicing for about 4.5 years, but kind of, I figured that it was just not for me. So and I kind of decided to kind of leave the clinical aspect of dentistry behind, and basically thinking about how I can be basically using my dental knowledge and the understanding of the community, and basically like just help the other dentists, let's just put it that way. So there is a lot that hopefully we can cover, Mila, and that's a very, very brief basic introduction about myself.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, that's kind of what brought, before we started this recording, we had a little bit of a conversation. I always said, as a dentist, it's sometimes hard, it's difficult to decide, hey, I am going to leave the clinical side of things because, schooling of dentistry is not easy, right? You do 8, 9, 10 years of schooling, and then you come out with all these hopes and dreams of, man, I'm going to make difference, I'm going to make money, I'm going to do all these things. But then you had this kind of roadblock of saying, man, I don't know, maybe I didn't make the right choices, or maybe this wasn't the right decision to make, or whatever the case may be. But in your case, what I would really want to know is why did you decide to stop working as a dentist? Like, what was that turning point that you said, okay, man, like, I don't want to do this?
Right. Actually, very great point. Before I just get started with that, Milad, I think I'm not alone on this journey, to be honest. I know a lot of people that kind of like, finishing the school, of course, like the school is not easy. There's a lot of challenges. Honestly, we have to study a lot of things, including anatomy, biochem, I don't know, what a pharma, etc. And so for me, and I guess for a lot of people, it's like a milestone. So it's like a big mission that I'm gonna become a dentist. I'm just gonna basically just work as a dentist. Of course, it's got this nice prestige, and everyone wants to be a dentist. So it's very rewarding in terms of like as a financial aspect of it as well. But I got to the point, Milad, that basically it was too repetitive for me. So my specialty was kind of like clear aligners and digital dentistry. So I actually did my postgrad as a digital dentist here in the UK as well. But, basically dealing with hundreds, if not thousands of patients and just doing Invisalign after Invisalign and after Invisalign. So, and I kind of like got to the point that I'm like, do I see myself doing this for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And the answer was a very big no. So, and I kind of realized, like, dentistry genuinely, I don't think is for everyone. That's what I believe. So it's not just a diploma that you get. I guess it's a lifestyle. You really have to connect with it, like any other job or position, basically that we know. And it was not for me to. So I spoke to my better half and kind of explained that this is the situation. What do you think? Honestly, very very simple. If I want to say it, mean that I was not happy and I don't want to live my life like that. So from that time forward, it was kind of like a matter of time, and it took me a month or two to just like just wanted to basically like sleep on it, just make sure that that's the decision that I want to make. So I gave my notice, and pretty much that was it for me, honestly. And I can never forget that date. Wait, it was my last day. I'm gonna send you a picture of that as well later on. So it's just such a relief that okay, so I've done that, now I'm ready for the next chapter of my life. So that was the whole thing. Not being happy, not being fulfilled by what you're doing, pretty much.
Yeah, that is such an important thing that you just mentioned, because when I left dental school, this is why I am such a big advocate, and I said
Yeah.
this to him after time. I worked for a lot of big organization out here in the US, and the one thing I came to a realization that this organization or the corporations in general, they make dentistry even harder. And that's why like I am so big on this small private practice type dentistry, because like that's where you really are able to be part of a team and get yourself out of the system, because the corporate makes things so much harder and makes things so much more stressful. And I'm like, dentistry is as stressful as it is, and you add that on top of it, it becomes so difficult at a time. So yeah, I can absolutely understand how that can be so frustrating, and trying to find that happiness within it. And that's why like we spoke before, like one of the main reasons I came to Tucson, Arizona was just because of that. I just want to find a place where I can be like, man, I can just go in, do dentistry, and not be stressed out about the nonsense of the corporate, the BS that they deal with. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to like be somewhere where I can just serve the patient, go home, and just be that, right? Don't want to deal with, you got to do this, you got to follow this, you got to follow that.
Yeah,
So
100%.
now, I know, like we talked about it, living for us when we go to dental school, we have all these ambitious dreams and everything else like that. I know you mentioned that you practiced 4 years, and all of a sudden you like, all right, I'm done. I'm just gonna like check off, I'm done. Was it a hard choice for you to step away from the chair side? Because I know it shouldn't, it probably wasn't an easy decision, right? Because you had to sleep on it for a long time. Was it a difficult decision for you?
Uh, this I'm not sure if you've seen me. I've had like a big ah moment that I had. So it's one of the hardest decisions that you can ever make, in my opinion. But also, it can be super easy as well. It depends on how you look at it, right? So if I want to look at it from that perspective, that what I've done to become a dentist, all those study days, going to
Yeah.
school, exams, I'm sure you can definitely, or everyone can relate as well, and of course the financial investment in that as well. So why would I just leave that behind? So that's the hard part. Like it's kind of like a But the thing is that, do I want to live like this for the rest of my life? That's easy. So I kind of was stuck between the past and the future. And I guess that's a lot of people. They kind of like, they just get stuck there. They're like, this is what I've done. It's like, how can I just leave that behind? It's like a waste of money or my education or my diploma or whatever you want to call it. But I decided to actually just follow the future plans. And that was easy from that point forward, basically. So I still think about it, to be honest. I'm still a registered dentist. So I didn't give my registration back, but I'm not practicing for a while. And I don't imagine myself that I ever go back to actually do the clinical work, to be honest. But I'm super happy to be involved, to get to know people like yourself. So we have a lot in common and we can share. But to be fair, I just didn't want to be stuck at that dental practice or surgery for the rest of my life. And I think, it really comes up to your personality as well. Like, some people, they just don't mind to just go to the same practice for, I don't know, 5, 10, 20 years. I'm very more outgoing person. I'm very more like a social person. I have to be out there. Like, so I guess you are that type of person as well. I can tell from what you do.
I
So
think, I
that's the
think
third thing we have in common. So I guess that becomes a little bit too lonely if that's what you want to do for the. And of course, dentistry is a stressful job. So it gotta worth it. If you want to handle that stress, it's gotta worth it for basically what you want to do as well. For me, it just didn't worth it. For the trade was not right, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. It's
Yeah,
it's it's a topic of like, what do I have to give up for the money that I make? And at the end of
yeah,
the day, our happiness, our mental health is like nothing. I don't think there's not
everything.
anything for me. That's kind of like where the breaking point is, right? Anytime I walk into a place that I'm like, man, this is just don't feel right anymore. I remove myself immediately from that situation. It may not be the right thing, but I think it's
Yeah,
one of those things where I'm like, it's just not worth it. It's like what I'm like, if I'm getting paid a little bit of a money or whatever just to leave, I'd rather just like have a little bit of like a downgrade in my lifestyle, but just be happy about it, right? Because at the end of the day,
100%.
I was just telling a friend of mine last night, I'm like, no matter how much money we make, we're not gonna take it with us, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I'd rather be happy, live a life, and just not worry about the money anymore because the money is not a driving factor for me at this point in my life. I'm like, man, I see people that make millions of billions of dollars and they're miserable, and I see people that make no money and the happiest people on planet Earth. So,
that's so true. And I guess it's one of the biggest factor for. By the way, I have to say something on bracket now. So I know a lot of dentists. They genuinely they suffer.
mhm,
So I just want to say it's not something that I am the only one who felt that way. I know a lot of people, like thousands,
yes,
at least within my community. So one of the biggest drives and the biggest like issues that they have actually that they can't take that leap to just quit is the financial aspect of it. Because of course it's a rewarding job or career or the positions. They cannot find anything else. So it can be like, okay, so if I would have that, but then I would potentially just leave the dentistry behind as well. So they don't have the plan B. So everything is just basically there and they cannot find an alternative. So again, it really comes to your kind of if you are a kind of like you can't take more risks in your life. If it depends on your character. So I'm not saying honestly it's for everyone anyway, but 100% I agree with you. You have to be happy. That's what I chose at the end. And I can't tell you how it feels. It's unbelievable. It's just that you get a second chance to live again. That's the best way I can explain that, really.
no, absolutely. I think even on my podcast early on, we interviewed Dr. Arnold, we interviewed Dr. Busky, I interviewed
Yeah,
Dr. Radix, and
yeah,
the message was common. It was the message all across with the dentists that I've been interviewing has been the same. It's like so stressful. I feel burnout. I didn't know what to do in my career, right? And the pattern of the message is the same because that's the only thing that they know. That's the only thing that
yeah,
they rely on. So if that thing, they're stuck into it because that's the only way they know how to make the money, and they don't try to step out of that comfort zone. And every time, and I'm like, it's hard. It becomes very difficult because you're living this comfortable life, but then you're going to work from 8 to 5 and you're miserable. But then you leave that after 5 p.m. You're like, all right, how can I like put this fake smile on just to be happy for my
Yeah,
family. It becomes difficult. It's absolutely a very, very difficult choice for the dentist. Now,
100%.
one thing I want to know is, so you decide, okay, I'm done with dentistry. I want to transition to the next phase. So what did you do after you left that dentistry? What was like your like transitioning plan? Because I think that's very important for people that are listening, for the dentists that are listening. How do I take that leap of faith to say I'm gonna stop practicing? Now, what was your game plan from the day you stopped practicing to your next phase?
Right. First thing first, I guess about my personal experience actually. So I actually took a break, to be honest. Believe me or not, I was like overweight just by
Mm,
doing, like, I was working 6 days a week for a corporate, by the way. So
yeah.
again, you mentioned at the at the earlier stage of this the podcast as well. So you can imagine what they expect you to do. I think about 55, maybe 60 hours a week, and so unbelievable. So I was really overweight and kind of like back pain, knee pain. Like I can't tell you, I was absolute I'm miserable, to be honest. So I really took a break to kind of recover from that. And about, I guess, what you're gonna do next and what you think that you want to do, it kind of like I really decided to do something that I always wanted to do. So I was always an entrepreneur, always like a problem solver, always since I remember. So that's exactly what I decided to do as well, to solve problems. So of course, the financial aspect of it is the situation, because it's a transition, Milad. It's not an overnight change, unless if someone offers you another opportunity, which is amazing. So that, then you're lucky to have that. But if you want to build something from zero, so it's a transition basically. So it may take weeks, months. So like financially, it should be covered, of course, especially if you have the cost of living and everything else. But then I would genuinely suggest, and that's what I've done as well, to really just go after what you really want to do. Because I didn't want to make the same mistake, to do something that I'm not sure that I want to do this for the next 5, 10, 20 years. So pretty much I decided to basically, I have actually two companies now. So one of them is, I really wanted to be in property because my family, they are in property. So it was just following that path. It was like easy choice for me actually. The second thing was about business and marketing. So I just followed up a lot of, I read a lot of course, business books and marketing books and everything as well. And just having the knowledge of dentistry and understand that what dentists they suffer in terms of, and we're gonna hopefully just cover that as well. So I decided to help other dentists. Like honestly, I really love being surrounded with my colleagues. I love them. They're very good friends of mine. We still have the relationship and connections as well. I just didn't want to do the clinical work, but I wanted to be still involved. So that's a very nice balance for me. I guess it's very, very similar to what you're doing as well. So kind of like helping other dentists, and that's why I just say that I'm honestly really thank you for what you're doing for the community, because there are not a lot of people like you who are kind of like trying to just send the message out that these things are normal, or this is what you can do, or like still you're talking like communicating with your colleagues, but like you're not, maybe. And anyway, so it is something that I decided to not do the clinical work. So I have started with tooth marketing. I think I told you about it as well. It's also on my LinkedIn. So it's a very interesting concept. I guess it's a very unique concept. So, of course, as you know, dental business is different compared to dental, basically like a clinical work. They're completely two different things. I always suggest, if you're a good chef, it doesn't mean that you can run a successful restaurant. They're
Mhm.
completely two different things. We've been trained to be good chefs. We've been trained to be good dentists. So that's what we've been basically trained for. However, a business, especially dental business or any healthcare business, is tough. And that's how I thought that I can actually help my colleagues and still be within the community. So that's why I started basically toothmarketing.co. You can see my shirt here as well. I'm very proud of it, honestly. And it's something that hopefully we can cover within the next questions as well. But I hope I could answer your question anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of you kind of lead me into the next question. So, in one of your recent posts, you said something that was super fascinating. Is like you said, I built tooth marketing or your company to kind of, you build it for the dentist because you're a dentist, you understand the dentist, you understand the perspective of a dentist. And that just kind of took me back to the things that I've been saying for so long. It's just, for so long, I've been out for 2 years, but I've been saying it because I see it. It's so important when these organizations, doesn't matter if it's corporate, if it's private practice, or if it's anything else, that are dentists that are sitting on top of the chain, right? Because at top of the food chain, if a dentist that, not everybody is, like you said, everybody is not a business person, but if you can find that one or two or whatever the dentists that are business savvies, that are good at what they do, and you put them at the top of this big corporation, I think the landscape will change, the patient experiences will change, everything will change. I think it's so important. The messaging here is so important that dentists have to run the dentistry, so that way the patient experience changes, and also the industry will change because things will lay back for the patient, for the dentist. Because some of the CEOs, they don't understand the stressful side of things that comes with dentistry.
Absolutely.
They just make all these decisions until they throw them out without understanding the consequence that it's having on those dentists. So with that being said, what is your company's about? I know your company's Tooth Marketing. What is it about? What did this idea come from? And just tell me about it a little bit because this is so fascinating to me.
Honestly, you just nailed it, Milad, what you mentioned. That's exactly what I believe. And it's not only about marketing. Like I give you a very good example, and I tell you basically how I got to this, making this tooth marketing pretty much. So first of all, I want to tell you what tooth marketing is. So tooth marketing, this is how I describe it pretty much. So of course, our main job is to basically call them patient acquisition. So we actually kind of get leads for the treatments that you want to offer to your practice, for example, either is implant, Invisalign, cosmetic, whatever that might be. And we bring patient basically for the practice. That's a very simple version of it. So it's like many other agencies, they might do the same thing as well. But understanding what we do, it's actually the angle that we have is different. First of all, I don't think that we are like third party agency. We really want to join the practice as a dentist as well, in terms of like a dental to dentist communication, kind of like help you to grow the business side of it. So of course we do the lead generation, of course we run ads, of course we bring patients to your practice as well. But also there is a lot of technology. We have a lot of plans for it, honestly, in the future as well. And hopefully something that we can work together in the future, because I guess what you do and what we do, they connect at some point.
Yes.
But all in all, we want to help the other dentists, which they kind of lack kind of like that business aspect of the running a practice, to help them to cover that part.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what tooth marketing is about. And my experience as being a dentist and working as a dentist and basically being in the practice and understand how the workflow is, the patient psychology, the dentist psychology, the difficulties of the business. So it's not just running ads. So we literally just, first of all, I have very, very good connection, with basically our clients. They're literally my colleagues, and let's just call them friends as well, to kind of brainstorm to understand how we can help to improve their business and help their business out, because they're super busy, as you know, with doing so many things. The
Yeah.
last thing that they want to do, that they actually want to run ads on Google or Facebook or whatever that might be. And on top of that, of course, we use the latest technology, of course, AI as well, to kind of nurture the lead, to make sure the lead is suitable, pretty much, because we get a lot of like a fake interest and everything else. So we just get engaged with them as well, to just make sure that, okay, this is the right person who wants to spend. And then basically we book them in the calendar for the dental practice as well. So we help them basically to grow their business. That's what tooth marketing is about. And as far as I know, I think it's not the only one, but definitely one of the few basically dental agencies that I know in the UK, at least. I'm not quite sure, but in the US, we have actually clients in the US as well. So we serve basically dentists in the UK, US, and Canada. And so I think we are the only one that I know, at least, that we speak dentistry. Let's just put it that way. And I literally come to them, speak to the principal or the owner of the clinic or whoever is responsible to run the business, brainstorm how we can do, how is the review management, how can we actually just, bring more financial improvement in your business. It's not just running ads, it's more than that. So I really want to help them to run the business, if that makes sense. But our first target is, of course, marketing. So that's why it's called tooth marketing. That's how everything starts, basically, from.
Well, that definitely answered the next question I was going to ask you. Because,
I'm
well,
always a step away. Yeah.
yes, well, you said it that you set this up for the dentist. You want the dentist to kind of grow, to kind of help them understand where things are at and everything else in between. And I think that's an important part of this whole thing, because you understand the dentistry, right? And you understand and be able to relate to the dentist, and that's so super important, right? So that, I mean, that I'm really
Very.
fascinated by the fact that, like, this lady, even we were talking about, and I was like telling her, she was like, Doc, I don't know what to do with the marketing. I hired this marketing company. I'm stuck with them for 6 months. I was
Yeah.
like, I was like, you gotta do your research and not just throw your money at something, just thinking, well, and now I have a marketing team. But I'm like, what are they doing for you? What's their game plan? What is, like, so, like, having the structure,
Absolutely.
having an organization that gives you a structure, it's so important. And like you said, I think, again, because you are a dentist, you understand, like, hey, this doctor, for example, like, I see a lot of time. I see these ads on the website. We do implant restoration. We do Invisalign, and then you go to the dentist. You're like, "Do you do any of this?" They're like, "No." So I'm
No.
like,
Yep.
"What are you guys marketing? Like, what are you putting on your?"
It is so true, Neil. I mean, it's interesting. You're saying the same as us. So I was talking to. We actually got a new client last week. He's a very successful businessman and a dentist. So he's got 7 practices here in actually around London, and he's a very famous mentor as well. I just don't want to mention his name now, but what I want to say, he said the same thing that Omid, like, we've been working with this dental agency, as you said, 6 months or 12 months or whatever commitment that we have. So can we please just see what's going on? So we did the audit basically for them, and it is something that I would like to offer to all your audience as well. So it's what we do actually is a free audit. So we actually diagnose your business on internet, basically online. So we actually see where you're standing in terms of, sometimes if someone is doing SEO, how is the ad, what is the ad copy, what are the pictures, what are you advertising. So long story short, someone was doing, and it was referred by another dentist. This is the funny part. So literally it was an Invisalign ad, and we click on the ad to just see. That was the first thing. I'm not joking. It took us like 60 seconds. And you go through the page, and the first thing is about Invisalign, and then immediately goes to implant. I'm like, what is this? Like, like, why implant is here within the Invisalign advertisement? So I just want to know, they have zero clue of what implant is, what Invisalign is, what's the difference between Invisalign and fixed braces, for example, or like clueless, absolutely. So all they know to just put something, like perhaps anyone can do it as well, and just click being basically going live and just hoping that something happens. And I see it all the time, all the time. I think pretty much, I guess, like 10 out of 10 dentists, they've been burned by these kind of agencies as well, that they are clueless. So they come to us because they think that we can afford their services. But how we deal with other dentists as well. So again, honestly, it's the dentist to dentist relationship. I'm here to, of course, it's a business for us as well. I'm here to make business if I can help you to grow your business. So our relationship, our perspective is very, very, very different compared to any other third party that you may see actually around as well.
That's amazing. I love that. I love the fact that, like you said, it's just like you have this set of eyes, and you understand the clinical side of
Yeah,
it. Now you're combining that with the marketing side of it, so you can kind of bridge that gap,
exactly.
and you're able to see what is missing. Because, like, I see a lot of marketing companies that we do marketing for dentistry, but then, like they said, they just take this stock image, they throw it on your website, and then you're like, okay, does this make any sense? And I like, They're like, yeah, we do veneers. And then you go to the dentist, you're like, do you even know what veneer is? And the guy is like barely making it. Like, it's just like, these are the type of thing that I'm saying that I'm like, it just doesn't make sense.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, it just
That
doesn't make
happens all the time. You know, it's just really their intention as a business, each obviously, to aim the businesses like dentistry or any cosmetic or whatever, so they can afford their services, and they charge like thousands or whatever per month. It's not about how much they charge, it's about understanding what they're doing and what they're offering. So it's super important. Milad, I just want to say one thing to kind of have a good understanding. So I used to work for two corporate dental corporates, and a very, very successful one. I want to tell you, it was this successful that from the start till the end, it took about 3 years, and they were providing basically D2C aligners, by the way. So that's what they were doing. And they sold it for 250, if I'm not mistaken. So within 3 years, just imagine the growth from 0 to 250 million, right?
wow.
You never see a small practice have that growth. And it's something that I learned. By the way, the founders, they were not dentists as well. Interestingly, you will see that most of these corporates, if you realize, they are not dentist founded. And the reason is just that those people, they understand business.
Yes.
And this is exactly what we want to do. And I want to do for the other dental practices as well. So, you know, you don't know what you don't know, but our experience can help you to grow the business, because we take care of that part that you don't know how to take care of it, pretty much. So I just wanted to throw that as an example as well, how our angle and perspective is in terms of the marketing. And basically, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of the toothmarketing.com.
No, for sure. No, I think it's so important because really, like even when we were talking about this, and I think I was talking to one of my co-founder, Masood, when the whole idea of Dentman came about. I told Masood, I was like, the one thing that fascinated me when I left dental school is that, they teach you all of these things, but they never teach you how to do a business, how to be a leader, how to deal with
Yeah,
all these different things. And that's why, like, really the idea of Dentman came about, because I was like, we have this industry. There has to be a way, a platform where people can come in, just really understand the business, right? You bring this top notch individual into the platform, and they're mentoring these younger doctors to say, hey, we're going to teach you business so you can go out and be a leader in your community. So you can go out and really take control over your career and the industry itself. Because if not, these big corporations, they're eating off the back end of the dentist, and the dentists
100%.
financially are not benefiting from it at the end. Like you said, 0 to 3 years, 250 million euro. Did any of those dentists got any part of it? Probably not, right? But how did they become
Absolutely.
successful is because the dentists did the work. Now they sold the company, they walked away, and the dentist didn't get nothing out of it. So that is why I think it's so important. Like this type of thing, it's so important that dentists take the control of the industry, helping other dentists to be a pathway so that they can grow and benefit from and when you want to exit, the dentist has to benefit from it. If not, then what's the point? And similar story here. The last organization I worked for, they sold the company for $500 million. Did the dentist get any of that? No, they just sold the
No,
company. And they're like, okay, here you go. The CEO is still there, but the company was sold. But the dentist that helped them get there didn't get nothing out of it. The only thing they're getting is they got to get up at 7 in the morning, go to the office, and run that business, right? So
absolutely.
I think that's the thing. So we talk a lot about business, right? We talk a lot about business, and as I'm sure everybody knows, business is a giant on its own. So was it scary for you to go out and just start your own business? Now you did the clinical, you were comfortable making money. You're like, hey, the paychecks are coming in, but now you're like, all right, I'm gonna just change my career path and go and just start my own business. Was that moment scary for you to decide to do that?
Right. So, Milad, for every new action that you want to take in life, it's a bit scary, you know. But to be fair, this is not my first business.
Mm,
I've been doing like on since even when I was in dental school, I was doing business.
nice.
So I genuinely was working to pay off a part of my tuition myself. So I knew I can do it, to be honest with you. So it just kind of a matter of like, should I go for it or not? So that's how it was. But like pretty much every new venture, I would say it's a bit scary, but I think you just have to jump, kind of like, just start doing what you need to do. But for me, it was super clear. And like yourself, honestly, Milad, I'm very very happy, other than being on this podcast, that we are connected, because we are very very on the same mission in here. And I think, hopefully from your platform, and pretty much I try my best from my LinkedIn or whatever that is, that you let the other dentists know that you've been trained to do the dental work, period. We didn't do any leadership course, we didn't do any business course. Some dentists, they don't even know what ROI is. I have to explain to them. I'm serious. You don't know, we have here dentists that they still don't have online booking.
Mm.
So what do you think that someone in this 2025 with having AI, so of course they're going to come and just, basically just take over all the patients as well. So, and they suffer. And this is what genuinely, this is my mission, to just help as many as dentists as possible with good intention, to kind of prove that you can become more successful than what you think, that if you're basically think that you're successful now anyway. So you can grow the business, you can have a second branch, you can have the third branch, why not? So it's possible. It all comes to marketing and know how business works, like
Yes.
any other business. Like pretty much dental business is not different from any other business. It's a business, and we are not trained for it. Yeah. So again, we are very similar on this mission, to be honest. So yeah.
I'm super grateful every time I get to meet somebody that we share similar vision. That for me
Yeah.
is very powerful, because that's what building a community is about. When you're able to kind of find individuals that you share similar vision with, and that's what kind of like collaboration is about. And that's why like I started this Denkman podcast last year, because I really truly looked at besides starting the Dentman, but I wanted to be able to start this podcast because I wanted this younger dentist, when they're in their fourth year, to have a place and they can come and just click a video like we're having. They learn about the marketing, they learn about the accounting, they learn about the insurance and stuff. So that on its own is so powerful, and I think that's so important for the dentist, especially young dentists, to understand like really, really what it is. I mean, you kind of touch up on it, but I really want to know, when you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm about to start my day, I'm about to just get going, I'm motivated to do something. What is the best part of your kind of new adventure, with tooth marketing? Like when you wake up in the morning, what excites you? What is kind of like the fire that kind of says, I'm ready to go?
That's a very, very, very good question. I think, Milad, first of all, talking about your platform, genuinely, I believe every young dentist, even before graduation, they have to join. Hopefully, you're going to have the software, the platform that everyone can join. I guess it has to be mandatory.
Yes.
So I'm more than happy to share it on my platform as well, to just honestly just send more people to really understand what the reality of dentistry is. Because, I remember the day when I graduated, I was like, okay, now what? So, what is the option now? So do you go work for someone? I mean, of course, you have to get some experience, but at some point in everyone's dream, and hopefully, I guess, goal is that to have your own business at some point, you have your own clinic. But it's challenging, especially nowadays with so many competitive corporates and everything else. So what you say, that pretty much what motivates me is like, hopefully just uh, bring this to more and more and more dentists' attention, that this is missing. And I
Yes.
always say, I love this phrase when they say, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know that thing is missing. When you don't have an online booking, it's 2025. This is like unacceptable, that if someone is finding you online and they cannot book, for your services, this is not acceptable. So pretty much this is also, and that's why I actually joined your podcast as well, so it can be kind of like a platform that more people, they can listen to it, that that kind of motivates me to bring to just pass that knowledge. These things are possible. You can go. I'm not saying you want to become a corporate, but 0 to 20 250 million
It's
was
possible.
possible for someone. So they've done it a couple of times. They were not dentists too, by the way. So yes, and that is genuinely my thing. And of course, if we can help someone that we can see the numbers, of course we send reports to our whatever clinic we are working with, so we actually send them a report. This is something that we do on monthly basis. We actually have a Zoom call. It is also included in our services. So I'm actually getting whoever is the marketing manager or the owner of the clinic, or I'm going to go on the call and talk to them. Okay, how was it? What did you do? How is the revenue? Is it increasing? What else we can do? How is the reviews? Should we get more reviews? Should we add this technology? We can have more follow-ups on the leads. The list goes on and on and on. It's again not an overnight change. It needs time, but you can become successful at least within your area. You can be the clinic to go within your area, everything right, to be honest. And that kind of every day, pretty much, I wake up. That's my thing for the tooth marketing.
I love that, man. I love that. I think it's such an important thing because you're giving the dentist. What I love is that you're giving the dentist understanding that if someone else can do it and they can reach that milestone of like $250 million, you can do it too. And you're giving them that pathway and understanding of how you're doing it. I think it's such a powerful message, and I just love that, man, about what you're doing. I think it's something that, it's amazing, man, and I'm super happy that you're doing it. I think it's
Thank you.
you're gonna change a lot of dentists' life, and that's what this is about. It's about like, hey, how can we empower the next generation? Because we understand what it feels like to be feeling like it's I'm burning. I'm just not able. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. So
Yeah,
being able to just say, man, like, here's the resources. You benefit from it. And like I said, I had this conversation with people that are in dental industry in the US, and the one thing that the message is very clear. It's like, stop focusing so much on the money. When you bring the value to people, people will see that value and they're just going to pay for your services, right? So I see so many
100%.
times marketing companies, they're pushing that agenda on you, but then you're like, am I getting what I need? Am I under, because they don't really, like, some of these marketing companies don't understand what it takes to like get to that next stage, right? And then they're like, oh, why did this dental practice pull the plug after 2 months? Because guess what? They don't understand what you're doing. And I think what you're doing is so important because you understand exactly what you need to do in order for that practice to be successful, and you bring in that value. And I think once people see that value, man, it's like the sky is the limit with what you can do. Now I gotta ask you this. Some days I even some weekends I take off and I'm like, I don't work 6 days a week. When I graduated first year I did, but I was like, man, no way.
No way I can do that.
I was like, when I get off my knees, I make it sound. That my knees felt like quarters in the bucket. I was like, I'm way too young for this one. Not that young. Like, this don't. This like
I've been there, Milan. I know. Yeah.
I'm rubbing hot and ice pack on my knees. I was like, my poor grandpa was doing that. He passed away, But even I take like a couple of days off from the clinic, and sometimes I tell myself, man, I miss it. I want to go back. I want to go like do that crown prep, do that filling, do that root canal, do that extraction. I mean, now that you're stepping away from the chair, do you have that moment that you stop and you're like, man, I miss it. I want to go
It's
back.
it's 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 yeah. It's thanks for reminding me of those days, by the way. So Bilal, it's actually I think I have the best thing to tell you. Honestly, just came to my mind. So it was not a long time ago. So I told my wife as well. I'm like that, and I kind of like miss going back to the practice.
Hmm.
And immediately she asked, actually, she's like, if you win a lottery today for $10 million, do you still want to go back? The answer was immediate no. And I just want to tell you that's kind of like, a lot of people, they think they're missing out on something, but it's just kind of like a FOMO feeling, if that makes sense. You always trade something for something.
Hmm.
So obviously there is I'm not here, and I guess you are the same as well. We are not here suggesting that dentistry is bad.
Hmm.
Like, it works very nice. I have excellent, like, honestly, very good friends. They're excellent. Their business is fantastic. Their work is fantastic. Like, I'm very, very proud of them. but it was a right fit for them. All I'm just saying, it is not for everyone. So I kind of miss out on some part of it, but I'm very blessed to be still surrounded with my dentist friends. And it kind of works out for me because I'm not far. I'm just in there, but doing different things, if that makes sense. So for me, it's a very, very nice balance to have. It's a trade off for basically that part of dentistry, but I guess it works for me very well. And I have very big plans for tooth marketing anyway. So I'm very, very busy with growing tooth marketing as well. So yeah, maybe missing for a couple of seconds, honestly, but all my time and my my goal and my mission, everything is just focused on this as well. Because Milad, I think nothing is better to help someone who actually needs help and is a colleague. I can't tell you how amazing and rewarding it is. With someone is they say that, oh, thank God someone is helping me. It's just lifting that pressure off my shoulder, because it's hard to run a dental practice. That's what we try to do. So it's not just marketing, it's more than marketing. And by the way, another thing you mentioned, I wanted to say as well. So I know a lot of people, they kind of go for 6 months or 12 months or whatever contract. And I've been there as well. So a lot of people, they reach out to me to do the same thing when I was a dentist, by the way. So again, another thing that what we offer, so we actually have a 30 days kind of like I call them like, if you are not happy with it, we give the money back, to be honest, because there is no reason, if you are not happy, we want to work together. So it's, you don't benefit, I don't benefit in here anyway. So it's something that we really want everyone to try. We are making a lot of connections with the different softwares here in the UK as well, like dental software. So they are also recommending us, and pretty much like make it easy. Take the first step. It's not scary. I know you don't have trust for a lot of agencies, but let's just try. If it doesn't work, that's totally fine. But if it does, hopefully we can work together for long term.
Yeah, that's such an important thing. I love the fact that you brought that up. I think you're telling them that, hey, like, I'm giving you 30 days for us to see if we can be a good relationship, right? You're going on a date, you're taking them out for dinner.
Yeah.
Does this work? Does it not work? Vision is aligned. That's so important, right? Because a lot of time, I think, a lot of companies, even like the companies that I've seen, is like they're successful. That's kind of what their model is. They're like, hey, work with us. If it's right for you, you stay. If not, there's no hard feeling. We go our separate ways. I think that's so important, man. I'm so glad you're doing that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted, I always ask this question, and I wanted to ask you this as well. Well, one, I want you to give, if you have to give one advice to a young dentist that is graduating dental school, and then what is one advice you would give to a dentist that is stuck in their business? I always want to ask this because I think for that younger dentist, like you said, you graduated, you're like, all right, what's next, right? I just want to know, like, if you had to go back and say 4 or 5 years back and say, I would do this differently. If your message can kind of help that one young dentist that is graduating dental school, what is that one message to them? Like, hey, do this. I should have done this differently. Like, what is that one message?
It's a very, very good and hard question. What I see at Milad now, like, this is what I believe, and I genuinely believe in it. For example, you see a lot of people, like the parents, they push the son to go to be a football player because they think they can make like crazy amount of money, fame, etc. But that guy, it doesn't have the things, the talent to actually become one. Dentistry is not for everyone. This is what I really believe in. It's not just passing the exams. It's not just graduate. It's not just getting registered. A lot of people, they think when they've got all those, that's the end. Basically, that's the end of the thing. I'm saying, I said in a different way. Maybe that's just for me, it was like, as I told you, it was like, okay, what about now? It's, I would say, really listen to your heart. And if it's not for you, just 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 listen to your heart and just take the leap and just go for something that you think that you want to do and you want to spend the rest of your life for doing that. Because like it's not as glamorous and everyone thinks from the outside, if that makes sense. So it's not just wearing the white beautiful, the lab, what's that, the scrub, or just go to the practice and you drive a Porsche or whatever that might be. So we actually see you can definitely get there if you have everything that you need to get to that point. And usually it takes, in my opinion, 3 to 5 years minimum. So you have to climb that ladder, if that makes sense. You have to get practice. Of course, if you are smart, you're going to invest in leadership. You're going to invest to understanding basic, like, learning leadership, marketing, business, hopefully using your platform, like, to just get educated. It's a long game, and you better be good at it, and you better meant doing that. Otherwise, you're going to suffer. I really see dentists that they're suffering, and I'm not joking. It's so strange.
It is.
So, and we've got one life to live anyway. And I think it got worth it, basically, better worth it. So that's what I would say. And I don't mean to, like, say that it's not for everyone. I'm just saying that, it's tough.
Yes.
So you got to be ready for it. And hopefully something that you actually want to do and you're passionate about.
Absolutely. No, it's such an amazing thing that you mentioned because when I was in dental school, I would, before I had a mentor, I'm gonna give him a shout out, Dr. Fasho. He one time, it was a long time ago. It was like almost 12 years ago, and I went to his office. He had a dental practice. He still has it. He was in Virginia, and I went there and I was kind of talking to him. I was hinting that, hey, I'm gonna go to dental school. That's what I want to do. And he said something to me. He said, Milad, dentistry is a long game, like you said, but dentistry is people business. If you don't have the personality, if you don't have the drive, you're not going to survive this business. And that resonates so much with me because when I went to dental school, man, I would look around the classroom that I was in that had hundreds of students in it. And I would just tell you, I'm like, you could see people that truly just got into it because of their family or because of reasons that it just didn't make sense or just they just did it just to do it. I had a guy that left. He was in the third year pharmacy student and he left pharmacy and got accepted to dental school and he became a dentist. And I said, why did you do that? He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I thought about it. I think I'm gonna make more money in dentistry and all that. And I'm like, the mindset is so wrong. And I'm like,
Yeah.
like you're setting yourself up for something that you're telling yourself, oh, I'm gonna get out and do all these great things. I'm gonna make all this money. But they don't realize the reality is something else, right? When you leave dental school. And for me, it's the same thing. Like that's why like whenever I accepted jobs, they're like, I had a company that told me, man, you're so hard to deal with because you negotiate everything. I'm like, listen, did you go to school or I went? I didn't sleep for 8 years, 9 years. Like, obviously, I'm going
Exactly.
to negotiate for what I want because I know what I bring to the table. So there's nothing that don't hate the game, right? Like, it just
Yeah.
the game. I truly believe that a lot of people get into dentistry with the hope that all of these crazy things, and then they get in it and they become disappointed because the reality is something else. The reality of like what
Absolutely.
is something else. And I truly, like you mentioned, if I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you have the love that you want to serve, get into dentistry. Then that's truly important because
100%.
if you just getting into it because man, 5 years I'm gonna be driving that Bentley and I'm gonna live in a $10 million house, that never gonna happen.
That's
You're
so true.
yeah,
Mila, this is, I think that for a lot of people, getting into dental school is a financial decision
yes,
rather than actually emotional. And do I have the talent for it? Do I actually want to do it for the rest of my life? Like, it's for, I say for a lot of people, it's a financial decision that I'm going to invest X, and for the rest of my life, I'm going to make X per year or whatever that might be. So, and that's where the problem is,
yeah,
you know so nowadays there's so many things with tech, with so many things you can make good money, and you don't actually have to be a dentist. And this is what I'm saying, the 250 million euro, that's a very good example. The guy was not a dentist, but he was able to make that much money within 3 years.
yeah.
So this is what I'm trying to, I guess you are referring to the same thing as well.
Absolutely. Well, that's the conversation that I have with, like, when I kind of started, getting into, building the dentment and everything else. The conversation for me always was, where is the industry going, right? The direction, the path the industry is going. People are on their phone all the time. So I want to meet them where they're at, right? So that's where you have to understand that, like, with technology, things are changing so fast, man. It's like I want to
Yeah.
figure, and that's something I want to tell the younger dentists is like, find a way that you're not relying on sitting chairside to make money. Because if you're doing that, man, it's gonna be a long game.
It is 100%. You said that perfectly right. That's absolutely right. And I guess this is the best message that you can understand. This is not getting rich overnight. It's a
Yeah,
lot of a struggle. It better worth it for the effort for the long term. That's what I would suggest.
yeah. I gotta tell you this story. You're gonna enjoy this. I grew up in New York City. I lived in Brooklyn for like 11, 12 years.
Yeah.
Right across from my apartment, like you would cross this light and you would go on the other side, and there was all these big mansions. The guy lived in, like, his backyard was like size of a Central Park, huge.
Yeah.
House had the exit signs, this, that. And
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine over there. His name was Luke. He's a medical doctor, and we were walking the streets at night together. Some nights, like, he was studying for his steps, I was studying for DAT, and then we would walk, and his family like owned properties in that area, and he was walking through that neighborhood. He's like, you see this house? It's $10 million. Guess who owns it? Not a doctor.
Not a doctor. Yeah.
And then we'll go to the next house. He would see like a Ferrari sitting in the parking lot. He's like, you see this car? Dentists don't own it. And then we were just walking back. As we were walking back to go back studying, I'm like, man, this was not motivating at all.
That's very, very, very true. This is something that I really hope that more people before even applying they should know. I guess, Mila, things they've changed. Like about maybe 50 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, education was a leverage. I'm not, of course, I'm a dentist. It's not anything against education, but I'm thinking nowadays, things are changing. If you are
Yes.
aiming to get rich, you don't have to suffer studying. You don't have to
You don't have
suffer, have a back pain, neck pain. You don't have to, if that's what the aim is. But I genuinely have, I'm sure you have as well, Milad. Honestly, some people are very passionate about it, and I really, really respect them, honestly. They meant to be a dentist, they meant to be doctors, they meant to be lawyers. So this is what I would say, really think before you ink. Let's just put it that way. Like, and then get, because it's a long game. It's
it's a
not just I graduate. Everything just starts from that point.
platform.
And at least add another 5 to 10 years, like, on top of that. So are you ready for it? Go for it. Perfect.
No, I absolutely agree with you because I was talking to, even like, I was talking to, my professor at dental school, and he was saying, man, when I went to dental school, I graduated, it cost me $30,000, and I'm like, that was 20 plus years ago, right? I graduated now, and I'm looking at my student loans, and I'm like, man, I just spent $500,000 to get this. There's no comparison, right? There's no comparison. And then you look at our time, you're
Yeah.
like, $500,000 to get this degree. I spent 8 years of my life to get this degree. And now I come out. And then, recently I even had this conversation to where, like, there's inflation, the cost of living, everything else in between.
Yeah.
You're like, is it really worth it? And then, I went to a bank when I was in Nashville. I was going to buy a house. The lady is like, well, your student loans. I was like, lady, if you're gonna tell me I can't buy a house, it's like, you're not winning this game. You know what I mean? So that's why,
Yeah.
this is why I'm like, these conversations are so important. It's like, if you don't have a game plan, if you don't know, hey, I'm gonna go to dental school, I'm gonna graduate, and I'm gonna do X, Y, Z to be successful. I tell people, I'm like, don't get in it because you're gonna become rich overnight. That will never happen. Because
100%.
I've been practicing for 2 years, man. I don't know. Some months I'm like,
Yeah. No, that's so true. Honestly, that's so true. And that's what I like what you're doing, Milot. now having the social media around. So there are not a lot of people that I know that they are doing what you're doing. I'm very proud of what you're doing, actually. And I'm here to offer my support in any way that I can. Of course, we are connected
Yes,
to let the world know about the reality. I'm not saying it's all bad, genuinely. I just kind of want to be clear these things up so people they can make better decisions.
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the whole point, I guess, about, and honestly, educate people for other side of having a dental business.
Yes.
Having mentors, having learning business. Hopefully, we can help with marketing side or anything else. So it's not a one man job, pretty much. So yeah,
When you said it the best, and then I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to let you go. This conversation
no
is
problem.
fascinating, but the one thing that, when we started the journey of Dentment or anything else, right? When you want to build something great, when you want to build something that is meaningful, it takes the army of people to do it. And that's why I always tell dentists that I talk to, even friends of mine, I'm like, listen, you cannot go out and do your own payroll. You can't go do your own marketing. Like, you have
Yeah,
to spend the money to make money. So I'm like, I understand your bottom lines, but you've got to be able to, like, you got to be able to outsource some of these things so that way you can be less stressed about what you're doing. So I think that conversation is this type of conversation are so important for the dentist to understand that, like, hey, you may have spent a little bit of money on a monthly basis, but what you're getting back in return is your peace of mind. You're not stressed out, you're not going crazy. And if you want to build those 200 plus $1 million companies, then you got to go out and outsource some of these things to the experts so that they can kind
absolutely.
of figure the business side of it out. Dr. Omi, the final question I want to ask you, and this is the final one, I promise, is what is your vision for your company, Tooth Marketing, in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years? Like, what is your hope for it, and what do you want to accomplish?
Sure, excellent question, actually. So my vision is to really help hundreds of practices within the areas that we are supporting. So we are actually limited to the English language, basically like territories. Let's just say now we are saving the UK, currently actually the Canada and US. And my job is just to get to basically just spread the word and just tell them that this is what we do. Dental business is difficult. We are here to help. Hopefully, it's something that colleague to colleague is something that it can actually kind of bring a little bit trust, at least the initial trust, so we can take the first step and show them how we can help. As I told you before, there is no kind of like any kind of you have to sign up with me for 6 months. We don't have that kind of mentality or that kind of view at all. Our job and intention is just that to help you, and if it does, that's perfect. We're going to keep going. So it's tough. I know a lot of people, a lot of dentists, they've been burned by honestly bad marketers, I would say. So this is something that I'm trying to kind of like work. I'm actually working on it to bring hundreds of dental practices within the next 3 to 5 years. Mila, technology is amazing. We are actually using the latest technology, AI. Hopefully, if you do have the time and capacity, we can talk solely about marketing, honestly, not about necessarily my personal journey. So I can tell you, maybe I can even show you how things they work. And you can see that this old tradition way is over. So we have a team that we know the most updated things basically in the marketing world. And with understanding of a dental business, so it's a perfect match. So that's what we try to basically just have this uniqueness and bring it on the table, basically, and just help as many as colleagues that I can. That's my aim. So I hope that I can succeed with it, honestly. So
Yes, you will. The vision is very clear, and I think you're going to be very successful. Well, Dr. Omid, I am so happy and grateful for you to take the time. I know it's Saturday.
my pleasure.
It's one of those things, even talking to you for the first time. I mean, we've been talking on LinkedIn for, a few months now, but
Yes.
I can truly say that I can see how genuine you are as a person. I can see that you have a vision, clear path of what you want to do. I think that we're going to do a lot of great things together as far as, because I think my vision, your vision of wanting to help the dentist, and I hope that we can do something together and we cross paths, because I think it's important to be able to help others, because at the end of the day, life, for me, my life mission is like, what can I do to help somebody else? What can I do to do something that's going to make a difference in whatever way that is, right? We go to the dental practice because we want to change the patient lives, smiles, give them confidence. But now I think my life mission is really truly to try to help the dentists understand where they're at in their position. So I'm super grateful to know you, man. I think I feel like we're gonna do something together. I don't know what it is, but
My
we will.
pleasure. My pleasure, Milad. That's I really, really appreciate. Honestly, that's my pleasure. And I again thank you for what you're doing and just inviting me to this podcast as well. So, what I also wanted to offer whoever is basically seeing this and watching this, and hopefully I'm going to share that on my platforms as well. That what we offer to everyone is basically, especially your audience as well. We actually do the free audit of the existing basically like a marketing anything that they have, if they have it, by the way. We do actually have it 45 minutes. It's absolutely free, kind of like a marketing consultation. It's really dentist to dentist. Thankfully we speak dentistry, so we can talk about treatments, we can really talk about visions, had that beautiful chat that we had together. And we want to see if we can bring some basic value to your business as well. So more than happy to do that to your audience, to your friends. And basically I think our website, I mentioned it as well, is toothmarketing.co. But otherwise you have our full support for your mission, Milad. I just want to say from here, I'm pretty sure we do a lot of great things. I'm more than happy to introduce you to even our clients and whoever we are reaching out as well. So again, hopefully we're gonna continue this chat and see that how we can work basically together.
Absolutely. All right, Dr. Omid, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed this